Welcome back to Sissy Maya. Here, we embrace true femininity. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss an update.
Hi, my name is Maya, and I'm a sissy crossdresser. I love wearing femme clothes to embrace my true self, and I submit myself to all the doms in my life, whether male or female. I have one story I would like to share with you, which starts from my secret dresser, where all my clothes are stashed. The story begins as I opened the door to my secret dresser. A rush of anticipation coursed through my body. The dimly lit room was filled with an array of lacy lingerie, silky stockings, and provocative costumes that begged to be worn. I reached for a particularly enticing set, a black lace teddy paired with thigh-high stockings and seductive red heels. Feeling the cool fabric against my skin, I felt myself slipping deeper into my submissive desires. The transformation was complete. Maya, the sissy crossdresser, had taken control of me entirely. With each garment I donned, I shed the inhibitions that society had bound me in, embracing a world where pleasure and submission reigned supreme. Tonight was different. Tonight was the night I had arranged to meet Mistress Isabella. Her reputation as a dominatrix preceded her, and her mastery of sensual dominance thrilled me to no end. We had connected through an online forum dedicated to exploring alternate lifestyles, and after weeks of exchanging messages and establishing trust, we had agreed to meet in person. As the appointed hour approached, I stood before my full-length mirror, admiring my reflection. Maya stared back at me with an alluring mix of excitement and trepidation. The anticipation mounted as I wondered what Mistress Isabella had in store for me. Would she push my limits? Would she introduce me to new heights of pleasure? A knock at the door shattered my thoughts. My heart raced as I hurriedly smoothed out my skirt and opened it to find Mistress Isabella standing there, exuding confidence and power. Dressed in a form-fitting latex catsuit that hugged her curves in all the right places, she radiated dominance. Her piercing gaze bore into mine as she stepped inside, her heels clicking against the hardwood floor, creating a rhythmic symphony of anticipation. Maya, Mistress Isabella's voice was a low, seductive purr that sent shivers down my spine. I hope you're ready to explore the depths of your desires tonight. I nodded, unable to form words as my mouth suddenly went dry. In that moment, I knew I had surrendered all control to her. With every fiber of my being, I craved her guidance and the ecstasy of submission. Mistress Isabella circled me slowly, her eyes taking in every detail of my appearance. Her touch was light yet deliberate as she trailed a finger along the curve of my cheek. A surge of electricity coursed through me at her slightest contact, fueling the flames of desire that burned within. "Such a pretty little sissy," she murmured, her voice laced with approval. "But looks can be deceiving." Her words hung in the air like a tantalizing promise. I watched intently as she moved toward a table covered in an assortment of toys and implements, each one more intimidating than the last. My pulse quickened with a mixture of apprehension and excitement, unsure of what lay in store for me. Mistress Isabella selected a leather flogger from the array of choices and turned to face me. The room seemed to shrink as our eyes met once again, locked in a silent understanding. She ran her fingertips along the leather strands, testing their weight and flexibility before gripping the handle with confidence. As she lifted the flogger, I could see the determination in her eyes. Then, without a word, Mistress Isabella began to stroke my back lightly with it. The first impact sent a jolt of electricity through me, my body tensing but eager for more. With each subsequent strike, the intensity increased, sending waves of pleasure and pain coursing through me. Her skillful hand guided the flogger, each strike landing at different points on my back, thighs, and ass. I couldn't help but moan, lost in the exquisite sensation. The sound of the flogger against her skin echoed around us, heightening my arousal. Mistress Isabella's gaze never left mine, her eyes boring into me as she continued to flog me. Sweat trickled down my body, mingling with the tears that had begun to slide down my cheeks. This wasn't just pleasure anymore, it was a test of endurance, a battle between the limits of my mind and body. "Kneel," she commanded. Obediently, I dropped to my knees before her, my body trembling from the force of the blows. Mistress Isabella stood above me, her expression unreadable but her eyes gleaming with satisfaction. "You've earned your reward," she said, her voice velvety soft. She knelt down and unzipped her latex catsuit, revealing her naked body. My breath hitched as I took in the sight of her perfect form, the skin glistening with a thin sheen of perspiration. She reached out and ran her fingers along my cheek, gently caressing my skin. "You've been a good boy tonight," she murmured, her voice a seductive whisper. "Now, let me make it up to you." With those words, she climbed onto the bed and lay down on her back, spreading her legs invitingly. The sight of her wet and swollen folds sent a shiver of desire down my spine, and I knew what I had to do. I crawled onto the bed, moving between her legs, and lowered my head. I knew that this was not just about pleasing Mistress Isabella, it was also a test of submission on my part. I had to prove that I was worthy of her, that I could take whatever punishment she dished out and still serve her with devotion. As I began to lick and suck at her sensitive flesh, she moaned softly, her hands threading through my hair. I could feel the rhythm of her thrusts as she rocked her hips, moving in time with my mouth. The taste of her was intoxicating, a blend of salty and sweet that I could never get enough of. I continued to worship her until she was so close to orgasm that her body quivered beneath me. Then, with a final, hard thrust, she cried out, her muscles clenching around me as she came. I swallowed her juices gratefully, feeling the warmth and satisfaction of her tasty bodily fluids. I will never forget this day and the encounter I had with Mistress Isabella. I wish I could do this every day and be her sissy slave for life.